Majority of GTA games are not challenging because Rockstar always wanted players to beat the game easily, cause that's where money at. But some missions are really challenging and complex. Let's take a look at one of the most challenging GTA missions all time. First one, Supply Line. Supply Lines is arguably one of the most mechanically complex and frustrating missions in GTA San Andreas history, and I'm going to break down exactly why it earned its notorious reputation. When you first meet Zero, and he hands you control of that RC plane, it seems like a simple enough task: destroy some couriers. But what makes this mission uniquely challenging is how it combines several difficult mechanics all at once while putting you under extreme time pressure. The RC plane itself handles awkwardly compared to regular vehicles in the game. It has limited fuel that constantly drains regardless of what you're doing, turning every second into a countdown. The controls feel floaty and imprecise, requiring a completely different skill set than what most of the game teaches you up to this point. What really elevates the complexity is the mission design itself. You're asked to hunt down moving targets who take unpredictable paths through the city while managing your altitude, avoiding obstacles, and keeping an eye on that ever-depleting fuel gauge. Unlike most GTA missions where you can approach objectives with different strategies, Supply Lines forces you into a specific gameplay style with very little room for error. The mission also takes place in a dense urban environment filled with buildings and obstacles that can damage your plane if you're not careful. This means you're constantly making split-second decisions about navigation, while simultaneously lining up bombing runs on your targets. It's multitasking taken to an extreme level. What's particularly interesting is how the mission's difficulty was actually unintentional in some versions of the game. A programming error caused the fuel to deplete faster than intended, making an already challenging mission nearly impossible for many players. This was later patched, but the original version remains one of the most difficult challenges in GTA history. The combination of unfamiliar controls, strict time limits, moving targets, environmental hazards, and resource management makes Supply Lines a perfect storm of complexity. It stands out because it doesn't just test one skill, it tests all of them simultaneously, while giving you an unfamiliar tool to work with. Even today, Supply Lines remains legendary among GTA players as a mission that pushed the boundaries of what could reasonably be expected from players. It wasn't just difficult, it was complex in ways that required mastery of multiple systems at once. Next, Wrong Side of the Tracks. On paper, the objective seems straightforward: chase down a train on a motorcycle while Big Smoke shoots at Vagos gang members. But the execution creates a perfect storm of gaming frustration that has haunted players for years. The mission's complexity comes from its deceptive simplicity. You're not directly in control of the shooting. Big Smoke handles that part while you drive alongside the train. This creates an immediate disconnect between your actions and the mission's success, forcing you to understand the invisible mechanics at work. What many players don't realize is that Big Smoke's shooting accuracy depends entirely on your positioning relative to the train. The motorcycle physics in San Andreas add another layer of challenge. The Sanchez bike you're given handles differently than most vehicles in the game, requiring precise throttle control and careful navigation over rough terrain. One small mistake sends you tumbling, giving the train the chance to pull ahead and essentially failing the mission. The environment itself works against you throughout the chase. The train tracks wind through varied terrain with tight spots, bridges, and tunnels that can easily knock you off course. You're constantly making split-second decisions about which side of the train to ride on, when to switch sides, and how to navigate obstacles while maintaining the perfect distance. Also, the mission doesn't explicitly tell you that Big Smoke needs you to maintain a specific distance and height relative to the targets. You have to figure this out through trial and error. Players often blame Big Smoke's poor aim when the real issue is their positioning. Time pressure adds another dimension to the challenge. The train moves at a relentless pace, giving you little room to recover from mistakes. If you fall behind even briefly, catching up requires perfect driving while the train continues to pull away. The mission creates a mounting sense of urgency that can lead to panic and more mistakes. But most frustrating is how the mission subverts expectations. In most GTA missions, being aggressive and taking risks is rewarded. Here, the key to success is actually patience and precision, staying at just the right distance from the train rather than trying to rush ahead. Wrong Side of the Tracks remains legendary because it combines mechanical skill, environmental awareness, understanding of non-obvious game systems, and patience in ways few other missions do. When CJ finally makes it to the end of the tracks, and Big Smoke takes out the last gang member, the relief players feel is a testament to just how complex this seemingly simple mission truly is. Moving on the next one. Kaida Libre in GTA 5 is one of those missions that starts out feeling like a typical chase, but quickly turns into something way more challenging than most players expect. The mission kicks off with you chasing down a private jet on a dirt bike, which already sets the stage for some tricky vehicle handling. Dirt bikes in GTA 5 require a different touch than regular cars. They're super responsive, but also easy to wipe out on if you're not careful with your steering and acceleration. It's crazy how it keeps changing what it asks from you. First you're racing through rough terrain, then suddenly you're trying to shoot out the jet's engine with a sniper rifle while still managing your bike. That's two completely different skill sets you need to switch between in seconds. The sniper part is particularly tough, because you're dealing with a moving target while you're also moving. Plus, the game doesn't give you much guidance on exactly where to hit the plane. You just have to figure it out through trial and error while the jet keeps getting further away. Then comes the real curveball. After the plane crashes, the mission doesn't end. Instead, you have to navigate through a chaotic crash site, deal with armed guards, and find the target who survived the crash. This sudden shift from vehicular action to on-foot combat catches a lot of players off guard. What makes Kaida Libre memorable is how it doesn't just test one gaming skill. It tests several in quick succession. You need to master bike handling, precision shooting, environmental awareness, and combat tactics all in one mission. The constant shifting of gameplay styles keeps you on your toes the whole time. Even players who played most GTA missions often find themselves retrying Kaida Libre a few times before getting it right. It's not just about being difficult for difficulty's sake. It's complex because it requires you to adapt quickly to changing situations while maintaining focus on multiple objectives. Looking back, Kaida Libre stands out as one of those missions that pushed players to use everything they'd learned up to that point in the game, wrapping multiple challenges into one intense package that you feel genuinely accomplished after completing. Next, Espresso 2 Go. From GTA 3 might not seem as famous as some other challenging missions in the series, but anyone who's played it knows it's one of those missions that really tests your skills and patience in ways you don't expect. This mission drops a seemingly simple task on you. Destroy 9 espresso coffee stands scattered across Liberty City. Sounds easy enough, right? But the devil's in the details, and this mission packs a lot of small challenges that add up to one seriously tough experience. First off, there's the time limit. You've only got about 7 minutes to find and destroy all 9 stands, which means you need to be constantly moving and can't afford any major mistakes. In a game without GPS or waypoints, this creates immediate pressure. You need to either memorize where all the stands are beforehand, or somehow discover them efficiently on the fly. The stands themselves are spread across all 3 islands of Liberty City, forcing you to cross bridges and navigate through different neighborhoods with completely different layouts. Remember, this is early 2000s open-world design. The city isn't built to be easily navigable like modern games, so getting lost is a real possibility. What really cranks up the complexity is how the mission combines time pressure with navigation challenges and combat. Each coffee stand is guarded by armed gangsters who start shooting as soon as you approach. So you're not just racing against the clock, you're also constantly entering and exiting combat situations while trying to keep your health and armor intact. Vehicle management becomes a crucial skill too. You need a fast car to cover ground quickly, but you also need to be careful not to wreck it while speeding through traffic. If your car gets too damaged, or you crash badly, you might need to find a new one, wasting precious seconds that could cost you the mission. The lack of modern gaming conveniences makes everything harder. There's no health regeneration, no checkpoints, and no markers showing you where to go next. You have to rely on your memory and awareness of the city layout, which is a skill that many modern gamers haven't needed to develop. It's one of the first examples of a mission type that would become common in later open-world games. The destroy multiple objectives across the map within a time limit formula. But GTA 3 implemented this without any of the quality of life features that would make such missions more manageable in later games. Finally, Snowstorm. The Snowstorm in GTA 4 doesn't get talked about as much as some other infamous missions, but it definitely deserves a spot on the list of surprisingly complex challenges in the GTA universe. This mission sends Nico to raid a drug deal happening in an abandoned hospital in Alderney. And while that sounds like standard GTA fare, the execution creates a perfect storm of difficulty that catches many players off guard. The abandoned hospital is essentially a maze of corridors, rooms, and stairwells that all look pretty similar. This disorienting setting forces you to maintain your spatial awareness while under constant pressure, something that's particularly challenging in GTA 4's more realistic indoor environments. The combat in this mission is next-level intense. Unlike most GTA missions where enemies are somewhat scattered, the Snowstorm packs the hospital with well-armed gangsters who are positioned strategically throughout the building. The narrow hallways leave you with limited movement options, and enemies will flank you if you stay in one spot too long. This creates a constant push-pull tension, where you need to be both aggressive and cautious. GTA 4's more grounded, weighty shooting mechanics also play a huge role in the mission's difficulty. The cover system requires more precise input than later games, and Nico doesn't absorb bullets like characters in other GTA titles. A few good hits can put you down, forcing you to be much more methodical about how you approach each new area of the hospital. The mission throws another curveball when you finally reach the cocaine. Instead of a simple pickup, you suddenly need to protect your dealer friend who decides to sample the product. This abrupt shift from offense to defense forces you to adapt your strategy on the fly, holding position against waves of enemies in a game that doesn't really encourage stationary combat. Then comes the escape sequence, which ramps up the intensity even further. After fighting through the hospital, you now need to battle your way back out through newly spawned enemies, navigate the confusing layout in reverse, and make it to your vehicle while both you and your companion are likely low on health. One wrong turn can get you lost or cornered by enemies with no easy way out. What's particularly challenging about the Snowstorm is how it combines GTA 4's more realistic approach to combat with traditional mission structures. You don't have regenerating health, enemies hit hard, and the environment doesn't give you many advantages. It requires a level of patience and tactical thinking that feels more like a third-person shooter than typical GTA mayhem. And we are done. Don't forget to tell me in the comments which GTA mission you personally found most challenging or complex. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.